disappointing. I watched this trailer for the Batman v Superman movie. And so it starts with the clip that they gave us during Gotham, which I haven't been watching because, I don't know, I just, it's a good show when it's a good show, and then it just stops being a good show, and then it's back to being a good show. I'm so sick of getting, like, yanked around like a fucking yo-yo. So I stopped watching it. I'll probably get back into it, like, when I have nothing else to watch. But anyway, during that, they had a clip that I actually looked up on YouTube after the fact. And it was like, this really weird, like, dream sequence almost where Superman has Batman chained up and Batman's wearing, like, a trench coat and shit. And Superman, like, lands and he's, like, walking through, like, this fucking hallway and all these soldiers are kneeling before him. And he walks up and he yanks Superman's mask off and he's, like, fucking looking at him with this really mean scowl. And then he looks at the mask and then it's like, boom. Superman v. Batman, or whatever the fuck it is. Batman v. Superman. Dawn of Justice, right? Like, catch the trailer, like, tomorrow, right? So it's like it wasn't like anything special. It was just like a fucking, like, commercial for a commercial, which was weird. But anyway, that was kind of interesting. Like, I was like, why is Superman acting like that? That's so not Superman. He wouldn't do that. Why would he have anybody chained up? I mean, fuck it. Like, he's Superman. I mean, if you want to pimp slap somebody, pimp slap him, right? Like, why chain him up? So I just, I found it weird. So I waited, and then the next day came, and then they actually had the trailer and whatnot. Well, a couple of days later, they had the trailer on Jimmy Kimmel. And I just, man, like, I watched it, and it was, it's a travesty. It's bad. Like, it's bad. Like, there aren't many things that I can look at a trailer and say, like, most of the bad movies that I've seen, most bad movies I have seen, and I've gone to the movies to see them because the trailer at least made it look like it could be okay. Man, this could be okay. This could be an okay movie. This movie could be pretty good. I mean, it looks like it could go either way. I'll check it out. Green Lantern, for instance, didn't look like a piece of shit. It really didn't. It looked like it could be fun and exciting, and it could have been, but the only fun and exciting shit in the movie was what we already saw in the trailer. All the rest of the shit sucked, right? So this was like, in the trailer, I was just like, everything I saw in the trailer was like, it started with like a small mistake, and then everything just went downhill. Like, so there was a forgivable mistake that went to a slightly less forgivable mistake, and it went all the way to like fucking Code Red, where it was like, fuck this shit, right? And like, you didn't want to watch it anymore. But then it did something pretty miraculous, which was it went from Code Red to comical, right? Where I was just like, oh, this shit's fucking hilarious. Like, why? So, like, you have this like really weird Superman acting out of character, which is the forgivable mistake. I mean, like, sure, whatever. I mean, one of the things that I can't stand about Superman in the comics is the fact that he is so in character at all times. Like, he never fucking falters. Like, he's just this Boy Scout, right? That doesn't do anything wrong ever, and he's never on the wrong side of a argument. He's always the right guy, always the guy that's got the fucking, the cheesy smile and the thumbs up. That's Superman in the comics. Maybe not anymore with New 52, but I'm not talking about the New 52. Okay, so shut the fuck up. But then you have, Batman, like, wearing like 50 different like costumes and shit, which was like, okay, so obviously merchandising at its finest. So that was the slightly less forgivable mistake, because Batman really has like one uniform. He's not Iron Man. Like, stop trying to fucking get 12 action figures out there. But I get it. You're fighting Superman, so slightly less forgivable, but forgivable. You're fighting Superman. You have to have different suits. But I think 2 different suits is fine. Like, your regular suit that you get your ass kicked in, and then the fucking armor that you build so that you can fight Superman and not get your ass kicked, right? You don't need, I mean, what's up with the duster? You know what I mean? Wearing a leather duster, right? It's not going to protect you against soups. Okay, sorry. So anyway, on and on and on. Then you've got Lex Luthor showing up. Lex Luthor, my man. I love Lex Luthor. I don't love this fucking kid that's trying to be Lex Luthor, but he's not even trying to be Lex Luthor. I don't even know what to call it. He's being something that's completely not Lex Luthor. It's frustrating to me, and I've talked about this before with a couple of people on the podcast. Why can't Hollywood get a villain right? I mean, the only team or the only studio that's gotten villains correct has been Marvel Studios, like where the villain is basically the villain from the books. Loki was fucking spot on. Thanos looks like he's spot on. Who else? The Red Skull was obviously spot on. Every villain has been the villain that they are from the comics in Marvel Studios. Everywhere else, everybody thinks they know better, and I don't get it. I mean, we've had the Joker, we've had the Riddler, we've had and in different incarnations of Superman, we've had retail or real estate agent Lex Luthor, gigolo Lex Luthor. We've had all these different like versions of Lex Luthor, but we've never had Lex Luthor, the Lex Luthor, the brilliant businessman that is like so fucking selfish and greedy that everything he does is basically evil, right? But he's not really an evil guy. He's just, he's out for himself. He's just a very selfish individual. And we never got that. We got that in Smallville, right? And the funny thing is that's what Smallville got right, was Lex Luthor. Like everything else in Smallville was kind of wrong, except for Superman and Lex Luthor. They were actually accurate. And some of the other heroes that they brought on, Green Arrow was pretty cool, and all that shit. So, that was awesome in Smallville. But ever since Smallville, they still didn't get it. Like when you have Smallville, like this, like really, like it's a WB TV show. It was WB, and before that it was after that it was the CW. It's a TV show aimed at teens, but everyone from teens to kids to adults. Lex Luthor was the best shit ever. And I don't understand how studios don't get it, especially the WB, who owns the station that had the best Lex Luthor ever. Right? I don't get it. I don't get it. Why is this guy looking and acting the way that he's looking and acting? It just makes no sense. None. So that's when we got Unforgivable. Then, oh my God, it just goes on. Then you've got Zod. They've got Zod's dead body. And from Zod, they create Doomsday. Doomsday looks like a toasted Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It's awful. It's absolutely friggin' awful. I've got nothing. I can't say anything about it. I don't know what I don't know what they're thinking. Why is it Zod in the first place? I don't know. It's not who Doomsday is. Doomsday is basically a doomsday device. He's a machine. He's a clone created by the military on Krypton. And, basically, I don't know, man. He's not Zod. He's not Zod. But he is in this movie, and it's really fucking weird. So that's when it starts to get kind of comical. But right when you think it's starting to get comical, it goes full-blown comedy where, they show Doomsday doing some shit with his fucking laser vision or whatever, and then all of a sudden, here comes Wonder Woman to save the day, and it looks like, why does Wonder Woman show up in this commercial like it's a fucking GoDaddy commercial, right? Her hair's fucking blowing in the wind, and, like there's like uplighting and fog, and standing there with fucking shield, and like looking like she's about to fucking just strip, right? And then you got fucking Batman and Superman looking at each other. Thought she was with you. I thought she was with you, right? And it's just like this really. And then all three of them are lined up together, and it's like, oh God, just pull the plug on this thing. It just keeps getting. It's like, stop, just please, for the love of God. DC is not held in high esteem in my household. I'm sorry, but at least I respect the company enough to realize that they have some iconic characters, and all they're doing with this movie is just murdering them, and maybe even bringing down the comic book movie industry with them. Hopefully, the Marvel movies can be strong enough to, be a support beam for to be a couple of support beams for the industry, so that we don't start like losing ground. I feel like for every step that Marvel took, DC just took 20 steps back, which means we're back at probably about Iron Man 1 right now. I don't know. It's just really fucking weird to me. I don't know. This trailer was a huge disappointment. On the flip side, there have been some Star Wars trailers that have been amping me up and getting my juices going for this movie. This shit's gonna be so good. Some things with Kylo Ren, and I guess this is something that I hadn't done any research on, so I don't really know the character's name. But there's like a master of the Order of Ren, or the Knights of Ren, that is kind of putting Kylo through his paces. So this movie appears that this movie is gonna be about Kylo Ren's like ascension through the Knights of Ren and the First Order, as well as the progression of these other heroes that we're being introduced to, like I'm sorry, like Rey and Finn and such. So it's gonna be phenomenal. I can't wait. I mean, the funny thing is that you really don't remember all the shit that you love more than you remember the shit that you hate. Like, I can tell you, I think I watched that trailer once, the Superman trailer, or whatever you want to call it, Dawn of Justice. I watched that trailer once, and I can tell you every single thing that I hated. But I've watched the Star Wars trailer multiple times, and I just can't get enough, and I just have to go back and watch it again and again and again and again. So, I mean, there's so much going on, and there's so much that I don't understand. There's so much that I don't know about that movie, but it all looks awesome, right? It all looks like it's going to be perfect. So I'm ready for that. And something else that's going on, a couple of things that I just finished watching on TV. S.H.I.E.L.D. has been awesome. S.H.I.E.L.D. came back this week. Got to watch that, and phenomenal episode. Coulson is a badass, hands down. I mean, this guy just he held Rosalind in his arms, as she died with a bullet through the throat. Ward shot her, and then he just went he melted down. He was just like, look, that's it. We're going after Ward. Ward's dead. This time, Hunter, you better fucking kill him, right? You're coming with me. And Bobby's like, maybe you shouldn't bring Hunter because, well, and he's like, hey, shut the fuck up. You're flying, both of us. Let's go. Just shut your mouth before I fire you from the team. Get on the fucking plane. Fly me and your boyfriend. We're going to go kill Ward, right? And then this dude jumps out of a fucking he jumps out of a plane, and it was like, this was an unrealistic part, but it was fun because they're in a plane, or one of their like Quinjets or whatever, right? And Coulson walks up to this thing, and these guys are down on the ground, and they've opened a portal into another dimension, right? And this portal is it's probably about the size of a kid's swimming pool, right? Kid's pool. And they've opened the portal, everybody's gone through, and they're about to close it, right? And Coulson is he's watching this, and he's like, shit, I got to get down there. So he's like, this Quinjet is fucking miles high, right? It's you're high up in the air, right? He dives out, and it's like that old Looney Tune shit where you've got the guy that's fucking standing 50 feet up in the air or whatever, and they're looking down, and they dive into a little Dixie cup filled with water, and everybody starts cheering, yay, right? That's what this was like. This was he jumps off the fucking thing and goes right into the kids' pool. And he jumps out of the plane, jumps right into the kids' pool, and out the other end into the other dimension or whatever. He gets knocked out, but I mean, the fact that he made it into that small landing area, with speed, it wasn't like he was able to slow himself down with a parachute and basically guide himself. He just flew right through the fucking hole. Interesting. It was interesting, super soldier style. He just, and if you blinked, you missed it. That's how fast he was going. So that was interesting. But But yeah, just so a whole lot of interesting shit going on. But